and we are still joined by Muhammad Faisal. He's the Executive Director of Core Indonesia. We're going to talk about economic growth in Asia specifically now. Do you agree with the sentiment that growth in Asia will be stronger this year amid the reopening of China and increased demand? Because we're still seeing many headwinds, of course. Oil prices is one of them, and the banking crisis.
Yeah, well, I think so. Typically the economic growth in Asia is almost always stronger compared to other regions like America and also Europe. But especially if we compare this year and last year, I think there's a tendency that Asia's economy will be stronger this year compared to last year, mainly due to the largest economy, the largest market, which is China, which has, end their zero COVID policy since the end of last year. So we expect the reopening of China this year will push demand, the global demand, and also the growth, the global growth, and especially the Asian demand and also the Asian economic growth, because China is the main trading partners for many countries and especially for the other Asian countries. So with the reopening of China, I think there will be a stronger demand this year, and not to mention also not only China, India, if we can see also the economic growth will still at the level of 6% or even higher, even though probably there's a little bit of a slowdown compared to the growth last year. But I think with the level of 6% or higher, I think it will, China together with India and also Japan and other countries in Asia can drive the economic growth in Asia this year, I think, stronger relatively compared to last year.
All right, and of course, this is very important for Indonesia, being that China is
Yes.
the largest trading partner of Indonesia. Right, indeed.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a bit of cracks. China's manufacturing PMI, it fell to 50 in March. That is down from the 51.6 reading in February. Do you see China's recovery still struggling a bit, and how could this impact Indonesia?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So here's the thing. With the end of the zero COVID policy, well, we expect that the reopening of Chinese economy can, increase demand. But apparently, the case of COVID-19 case is also increasing in China. So if we look at the statistics, the cases of the Omicron's variants in China, I think, increasing, spiking. Even I think this is the highest record, even compared to the records in the early pandemic in 2020 that started in China. So with this, increase of the spread of COVID-19 virus in China, I think it will slow down a little bit the recovery. So they're still struggling in the recovery in China, and that I think affects not only the downstream, but also the upstream, which is with the manufacturing. So I think it's reasonable then. The Purchasing Managers Index a bit fell in March compared to the previous month.
All right, but does Core Indonesia still see China's economy growing by around 5%, as the Chinese government is forecasting?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility that Chinese economy will grow about 5% this year.
Okay. Now, I want to move on to another, external headwind that has been concerning in recent weeks, which is the banking crisis in the U.S. that has spread concerns to Europe. Now, it's been 3 weeks since that banking crisis started. How do you see the banking crisis now? Do you believe the impact has abated? Is there any chance of a global contagion at all spreading further from U.S. and Europe?
Yeah, it's interesting because everybody's lay eyes on this issue, especially the banking crisis in America and also now in Europe with the case of the Credit Suisse. So, but if we compare with the 2008 crisis, which is almost the same problem with the banking sector, I think the banking system today is more prudent, which is more careful. The regulations is also more stringent, and there is more stability today compared to the the 2008 crisis. So I believe that the current banking crisis, even though it has spread from America to Europe, I think there is a possibility, high possibility that it can, it will be abated it will abate. But if we look at also the current trend, I think there is a strong indications that the crisis can be contained. But however, you know that the banking system is a complicated industry, complicated system.
Yeah.
We cannot precisely predict where is the Achilles heel or the weaknesses in the system. So the questions is still we need to be still cautious with the recent developments, because we have to be aware or be anticipate for something unexpected, especially with the current open and integrated economy.
All right, Professor, we are running very short on time, but just very quickly, I want to ask you about the rupiah, because since that banking crisis, the Fed hiked rates by a smaller 25 basis points. The rupiah has since gained. It reached a level below 15,000 rupiah. Do you see the rupiah continuing to strengthen? And just talk to us about the factors behind it, just very quickly. We have about a minute left.
Yes, I think there is a possibility that rupiah will keep strengthening below 15,000 rupiah per dollar, because of the banking crisis issues that push the capital inflow to Indonesia, and also the smaller gap between the BI Bank Indonesia's interest rates and the Fed fund rates. So that's why I think the capital inflows is still I think will still happening in the near future.
Okay, Muhammad Faisal, Executive Director of Core Indonesia. Thank you so much for your insights this afternoon.